Oh, that's melting because of the. She's dead! She's dead! She's dead! She's not dead yet. She's not dead. She's dead!
No repairs.
Oh,
C is dead. C is okay. C is okay.
Flames, what's with your shitty callouts?
Shut up, bitch! No one fucking dead! No one was skating, bitch! Do you think I'm gonna say the fucking sigil? Where there's no fucking cater?
Pick up the hammer.
Where do I find my bandit?
Wait, don't do it yet!
Not yet. Wait till everyone's here.
Oh my god, we're at the ceiling!
Not yet.
Oh,
man.
Nice. Nice. Holy shit.
23 credits!
First thing I want to show you is the type of props that you will be working with. Every map you get is going to have a different set of props. In this case, this is ZS Motel V5. I like to categorize props into 3 different categories. You have the small ones, which are generally small pieces of furniture, TVs, cinder blocks, end tables, paint cans, pop cans, buckets, whatever. These props generally have much lower health than others, say around the 300 or less range. Some of them are much higher, and then they're generally used to just pile up to the front, or you can use it as a front cade to kind of just like alleviate some of the zombie movement. The next category I want to show you are the supports, or things that can wrap around the prop. So things like tables, barrels, something you can kind of use as like a middle layer or as like a support layer. The next category is the strongest category, which are the base props. Most notably, couches, radiators, dryers, and whatever are used as a base prop. They're basically like the last layer of your cade. One thing I should mention is that there are 2 kinds of radiators. One is stronger than the other. You can tell by the color of it. The stronger one is the one that is more beige in color. Sometimes you'll also have thin props, and I would categorize those as a support because you can just layer as many as you want like over each other. So things like doors, little paintings like this, or just about anything that's a thin square, or even planks. Some props will have these weird hitboxes too, like this bench for example. Now this does qualify as like, a wrapping layer because you got a leg there, and then you can just like staple around something. But this one's got some weird collisions on it, so we'll look at that later. Next thing I want to show is angling your props for maximum efficiency. So this includes like, how much exposure do you want for the players to attack with? You might think that just covering up a door completely is going to work. Say like this, for example. Job done, right? Well, you don't get a whole lot of exposure out of here. You see, if you stay on the left and right side, you only got this small gap to work with. And you don't have anything to back up behind it. You could just put another layer at the back. That could qualify as your second layer. However, this also has a huge problem. If we phase out of the cade for a second, you can see how much of the prop is being exposed. Zombies can just come in and attack right away, just literally anywhere on here, and then it can go down much faster than ever. Humans may have a hard time attacking between these small gaps over here, as it is easily to hide away in the corner, from a zombie's perspective that is. Let's phase back into the cave. Let's take everything out. So how do we want to do this? Most of the time players say that the strongest prop should go first, and that's usually the case. So what is the strongest prop we have so far? Well, we have a bed frame here running at 925 on the first nail. We also have a couch at 879, and of course our radiators at 844. Now you might think that the bed frame is the first to be used as a base layer, but because we have these legs over here, as for angling the props, I like to expose as much open space as possible while still keeping it barricaded. This is better if I show you. Say if I take this couch for example. Instead of putting it in front immediately like this, which exposes too much surface area, how about I just move it over enough? course, you nail it down, you do your body check, you unnail it, adjust as necessary. Try again. Now, I cannot walk through this, but I have much more open space. If I phase out of here, you can tell that at least half of the entrance is open for free attacking. You might have to adjust accordingly because there is a gap under here where crawlers can get in. You can do so by simply closing it. You can rotate the prop wherever you need to. You can rotate the prop wherever you need to while still maintaining the angles that you need. Now if we phase out of here again, you can see that our lower portion is closed off and crawlers cannot get in. We still have our top portion to get through. We can use a radiator for this since it is pretty equal in health. So again, I like to follow the same wall over here. Make sure you jump up on it just so you can see that I was able to walk right through. So we had to unnail this, adjust again. You can jump over it, and I can't, so we got our first layer established. For getting the second layers, you want to at least protect your base props over here with something. Now, if you had a barrel, you could just do it like this. But this does leave a fair bit of exposure for the barrel, and it's going to go down pretty quickly. You could try rotating it like this. Notice how this face of the barrel isn't lined up with this edge of the couch. If this couch were to go right away, this barrel would protect us. Here's how. Say that this couch gets broken. Zombie comes in. I still can't walk through. This will give you more time to replace your base prop if it ever goes down. Let's put back our base prop for now. And if you remember, it was just a little bit forward from the barrel. But we do have other props on hand right now, so let's put the barrel aside. That bed frame I mentioned earlier is also pretty strong, much stronger than the couch itself. You can use it to wrap around the couch like this. This protects majority of damage from the zombies. Although you still got a fair bit of surface over here, it is less likely that the zombies are going to hit the couch. You can angle it just as necessary to get it flush with your base prop. And as you can see, we still have maintained our ideal attack angles. For those who are attacking from the left side, they also get some pretty neat attack angles. We can do the same for our top prop as well. Now that we have 2 layers, we have some more protection for our barricade. This table leg is covering This table will be covering the radiator, and this bed frame will be covering the couch. Although the top part of the couch is still exposed, even if it gets destroyed, the bed frame will still stay in place. Remember to quad nail your strongest props. The smaller props can be single nailed, but if you have enough to spare, you can definitely quad those down. Now to get our support layers going, we have another table that we can work with. Generally, bottom props are the first to go, so I definitely like to protect that even more. So let's wrap this bed frame with table. Let's nail that down. And there we go. We have another layer over here. Although this has a lot more exposure to it, it's still going to protect these 2 layers over here. Let's add another support layer to the top of our barricade. And this would be a good time to talk about the collisions of this weird bench over here. Now, if you try to wrap something around it, you can see that the collisions don't go in all the way, touching this very bit right over here. So you might have to take that into account. Now, as for positioning this on the top, you can do this like one or two ways. You can have it wrap inside, like so. If we have a look from the outside, we can see it juts out quite a fair bit. In some situations, that's okay. If you don't care about that prop too much, you know, you just nail it in there. You can also do it like this. You could also have the legs facing downwards too to minimize exposure. Now this may look like there's too little space to block the zombies, but the minimal point for this barricade is this very corner of the radiator here and the very edge of this couch here. These two vertices will be our baseline for the arcade. If we can just cover those vertices, then we'll be good. So as you can see, this leg of the bench here is making contact with the edge and corner of the radiator. And even if these two go, this is still going to hold it in. You can verify this by jumping onto the barricade and then just pushing yourself into it. If you notice a small dip, it's going to be exposed. So whatever prop you put in front of it, it's not going to work too well. Now let's deal with our smaller props. For the end table, you can do this a couple of ways. You could have the small legs sticking out. You can have the small legs sticking out like so. These are very hard to hit, and then anything in between is going to miss. This does cover up the vertices on the couch though. Although this does hurt attackers a little bit since they can't get lower, but if you can stand on it, that should be fine. I'm just going to leave that table as it's actually not bad here. So let's keep layering our arcade over here. We could probably fit something inside that small gap that we made. So here I'm just going to slam the TV in there. Let's just put it down. I'll just nail it to the bed frame for demonstration purposes. And now that we have a supporting layer for our arcade here. So I would call this at least 4 or 5 layers, depending how. You can keep layering as much as you like here. Put this in block up in here, or put it like this. A zombie can easily come in from the side and then hit it from a short range and then cower back into the corner. So you might want to rethink about putting props outside of the edge of the door. We're trying to minimize exposure to the zombies, but at the same time make a strong arcade that is also easy to attack out of. I don't think I'm going to use the cinder block for now, as there really isn't a good place to put it. I do have an extra radiator on hand here. Now this might seem odd, but I'm going to put the radiator on the top prop. Now, you might think that since this corner really isn't lined up with this radiator, if all this gets destroyed and this is left behind, I can crawl into here, right? Not exactly. If there's any props that go past the edge of your base prop, it would still protect it because you're still closing up the gap between the edge of whatever's in front to the edge of the doorway, opposite of it. So at the moment, we have a pretty formidable barricade that can last us maybe the whole game, or even 4 waves at least. You're going to be replacing props on the fly pretty frequently, depending if there are too many zombies, or if your arcade's about to fall, or if you're doing last sigil. You need to try different base props just so you can accommodate all sorts of attacks here. You don't want to crowd the doorways so much that you hinder the human attack side. It's best to keep things open just so that gunners have plenty of shooting range, and then melee users can still attack from pretty close.